All right, we are now joined by Carl Edwards, driver of the number 19 Stanley Toyota. Carl, you're making a return to your hometown track. You were third in practice. Talk about your car this weekend and what you need to do to get in victory lane tomorrow.
Well, we've got Stanley on the car this weekend, which is a lot of fun. They've been great to work with. We had a really great program in Texas with the Ace Hardware Foundation and Cook's Children's Hospital. So it's neat to have Stanley back on board. I mean, you guys know how I look at this racetrack. This is really my home track. It's as close to home as I get to race, and I've got my buddy Cam in the back with his family. I get, driving here, waving at people on the highway and stuff. I mean, it's just it's cool for me to be here. So hopefully we run well. At Texas we finished 10th, and I felt like that was a pretty good result for what we had for our mile-and-a-half program. It's not been our strongest point as a group, so we've been working very hard on it. Hopefully this track will treat us a little better, and we can just keep developing and moving forward. Last week was a really tough week for us because I felt like we ran a very smart race, and I feel like I made good decisions during the race. Everything was going well, and to get wrecked at the end like that and put us in a bigger hole in the points was really tough. So now we're in a position where we need to start here and move forward, just getting as many points as we can and get a little bit of cushion in case we have more bad luck like that.
All right, we'll go ahead and open it up to questions. We'll start up front with Tom and then go to Todd.
Hi, Carl. Carl, Tom Jensen, FoxSports.com. Now that you've lived with this rules package a little while, what do you think of it? And are there concerns that the speeds through the middle of the corner are so much higher than they were before?
Yeah, I absolutely believe that the center of the corner speeds are way too high. I feel like that we should be out of the gas a lot more. I feel like our whole sport is based on guys racing stock cars around and manhandling the cars and being able to race close. And I feel like we've gone farther and farther away from that because of all of the knowledge and the engineering and the dependence on aero. And I know NASCAR wants the exact same thing we all want. We want to have the best racing in the world and want it to be exciting. But I do fear that we are getting to a point where the cars are so easy to drive and so dependent on clean air and going so fast and relying on so much engineering that we're really we're losing the most fun part of it. And so for me, I hope that NASCAR continues to look at a much lower aero-dependent, much less aero-dependent package.
Hey, Carl, Todd Palmer, Kansas City Star. I was talking to Clint Boyer. He said they had some issues with their mile-and-a-half program as well, and they just have a new car, entire new setup this week. Yeah. Are you in the same boat, or are there just some other things that you're going to try this week to try to improve that program?
We're working towards that, and so you understand the way I see the season. I've made took some high risks. Chances, and they haven't worked out. And we've also had some bad luck, and we have not been good enough to go get a win to kind of offset those things. So the way I see the season and the way our development is going is that the things we're working on should pay off here in the next few months. And if we can get to that point and run well and get there and enjoy that success, I think we're going to be good. But we're not. It's not like this week we're coming with some brand new, totally different thing. So it looked like Clint was pretty fast, though. So we'll see if that works for them.
All right, we'll go to the gentleman here, and then Claire and Pete.
Hey, Carl, Scott Trailer, Racing Boys. Do you ever have any regret signing that last contract over there with Jack? And do you think about where you would be in the development if you were to sign with Joe Gibbs now? I mean, do you ever think back with any kind of regret at all?
That's a good question. I don't regret much. I've definitely, but I think everything happens for a reason. I think that what you have to do, my dad talked to me about this when I was very young because I would get out of a race having made a mistake or something, and I'd beat myself up very badly, and he'd say, look, he told me, he said, you got to make the best decision you can at the time, go do it, and don't ever look back. And I don't regret or really think badly about any of those decisions because I really believe I had an opportunity there the last 3 years at Roush to work with some really great people. Last year we were in the championship hunt until Homestead, and I feel like the pieces just came together so well to do this fourth team at Gibbs now. I can't really see it working out any better. But yeah, I mean, it'd be nice to be sitting here right now and say, hey, I've got 3 or 4 years of development getting here. But I really believe that this group, especially when Kyle comes back, as fast as Eric Jones is, it's like everything feels like we're going to have 4 very strong teams. And it feels like Toyota and TRD are working hard. And at the end of this year, I think we're going to be way better than we are now. And if I look forward to next year or the year after, I'm really excited about it. So,
Claire B. Lang, Sirius XM NASCAR Radio. After the race last week, obviously you had just gotten out of the car and you were thinking about drivers racing back or not letting off after an accident when there is no caution. Have you thought more about that? Have you talked to anyone about it? And is there a solution in your mind to what you saw you thought should happen?
I talked to Justin Allgaier about it. I talked to Casey Mears. I talked to Mike Helton this morning. It's a tough situation. In a perfect world, in my mind, okay, Justin put it well. He said, we talked about what we could possibly do, and Justin didn't see me until he didn't even know I was up at the top of the track. So he said it surprised him to see me there as much as it surprised me. If you're running, what we're going to do is we're going to wreck a lot at the end of these restrictor plate races. And the reason is, as you saw it, everybody gets in a line. They know, hey, there's no reason risking until really the last lap or two. And that last lap or two are complete chaos. And I would say that there's probably a better than 70% chance that we're going to wreck every one of those times we do that. Well, knowing that, if a guy in 10th wrecks, there's 32 cars behind him or something, 33 cars. If there were a way to let those leaders go race for the fans and for the win and all the things that we want to see, while still, penalizing the guys in the back for running wide open through the wreck, I think we should do that, because if we take a step back and say, hey, as a sport, we throw the caution for a little piece of debris on the apron at Richmond because it could be a risk, but we aren't able to slow guys down when there's a guy sitting stopped in the racetrack. It's just those things don't. They don't go together. So I don't know the answer. And Mike Helton and Steve O'Donnell, they don't have an easy answer either, because from their perspective, it looked like I was not in danger, and they want the race to play out. And if I was one of the leaders, I'd want the race to play out. But I am telling you cannot have guys driving through wrecks like that. It is going to end badly for someone. And I do know this is a risky sport, but for 25th, that just seems pretty silly.
And some drivers say you can't tell drivers to let off because they won't. It has to come from some other rule. Do you believe it would have to be a rule, or in your talking with drivers, do you think you can say, hey, man, let's just do this?
Yeah, maybe they should, at their restrictor plate races, the top 5 guys could have a points difference, and everybody from 5th on back or 10th on back just gets the same amount of points. I mean, I don't know. It's there's such frustrating races because there's so much out of your control. But I do have to say that if a guy wrecks in front of me the next time we're at Talladega on the last lap and I'm running 25th, I would hope that I would be, conscious enough of the risk there to just go ahead and make sure I at least slow down a little bit and give him a chance. I mean, it's great to say, hey, I've closed my eyes and I floored it. And I've heard people in our garage say that. And that sounds cool and everything, but when somebody up in the grandstands gets hit by a piece of debris, or there's somebody that's in a wheelchair in the hospital afterwards, it just doesn't seem very smart.
All right, we'll go to Pete, Jerry, and then Chris.
Pete Pistone, MRN.com and Sirius XM NASCAR Radio. Back to the rules package, the Tom's question. Steve O'Donnell this week said there might not be a change to the 2016 rules package, and I think you tested it. I thought you liked it a lot. What would you think if they don't change it, and can this current rules package evolve to the kind of racing you're talking about, Carl?
I mean, I have very strong opinions on all this, and I'll say this: I want to contribute to making our sport the best it can be. I believe to have the best on-track racing, we need to be running an extremely different package. That's what I believe, but all I can do as a competitor, I'm always very careful to just say, hey, here's what I think, and then go back and focus on what I have to do to win, because I have to win regardless of what package we're running, and I don't want to get my I don't want to be just a guy that runs around complaining all the time. So I've contributed what I think we should run. I think that's less aero dependency. I believe I'm one of about 43 guys in every race that feels that way, and I believe NASCAR, hopefully at some point will give that a real hard, long look, and hopefully it's palatable for the owners. It's not too expensive. I mean, when I ran my first truck race here, and I know the trucks are a little different. When I ran my first truck race here for Mike Mittler, we finished 8th with basically a truck that Larry Gunzelman put together. Over at Mike Mittler's shop, Mike built the engine. I was basically a dirt racer from Central Missouri, and we did it because our car was balanced. Our truck was balanced well. We managed the tire fall off. We were able to work as racers to go out there and compete. You could pass people, and I think if we were to try to come and do that today, that I think we would finish, 30th with that same truck, because there's just not enough. The racing is not dynamic enough to allow people to go out and find ways to be faster. It's really dependent on your engineering, and so I think that's where we're at.
We'll go here to Jerry and then Chris.
Jerry Jordan kicking the tires. Carl, you came in here pretty relaxed, and the last 2 questions kind of changed that.
Well, and the problem with talking about that stuff is it's like, man, if it's not going to change, there's no reason to even think about it, because it's just not, I'm very grateful to be part of the sport, and NASCAR does a heck of a job. I mean, we're all making a great living, doing what we love, and so I don't want to be like I said, I don't want to be negative overall, but you ask, so anyway.
Well, where you're at right now in the season, how are you feeling going forward with the team coming together and everything?
Well, I'm not where I want to be, but I feel like we're doing well. This sport it's such a fine line, and I stepped over that line a little bit early this season. I think I was really trying to make something happen that maybe couldn't happen, and so that cost me. And then the bad luck has been a little bit frustrating. 2 flat tires at Martinsville, flat tire at Atlanta, the wreck last week, and all of those I think would have been top 5s. But to me, excuses aren't worth much. It's all about what that says in the result column. And fortunately, with this format, if I dig in, do what I know I can do, and we have a little bit of luck, I think we definitely can be there competing for the championship. So yeah, so far not so good, but I am no quitter, and these guys are amazing. So I would definitely not count us out.
Chris Knight, catchments.com. Carl, with the significance, does Kansas Speedway play any significance towards next week and the Coca-Cola 600, with them being night races and 2 of the most, important races of the year, 2 of the most?
Yes, and these next 3 weeks I think are going to be very important. I think they're going to tell us a lot about the season going forward. If in these next 3 weeks, as a group, our JGR Toyotas can work on some of the things we've got planned, and if they're successful, I think it's going to be very good. This track feels a lot like, when it's cool out like this, it feels a lot like Charlotte to me. A lot of grip, a lot of speed. TRD has been working on a bunch of stuff. We've, overall, these next 3 weeks are important. And the All-Star event's really fun because it gives us basically a no risk to your season. You can go try all the things you want to try and have a little bit of fun. For sure. The All-Star event it's great. It's really great to win. It's awesome. But it is a test session for everyone else, and even the winter. It's a good time to practice some of the things you want to try, and you can be real aggressive. Which I haven't had any problem with that lately, but you can really push the envelope and see what happens.
Mark Ashenfelder, ESPN.com. Have you talked with Eric much before his official debut, and what advice have you given if you have?
I haven't talked with Eric much. I talked to him just a little bit today, and as fast as he is, the advice will be going the other direction. It seems like he's very good, and it's really exciting to see someone that fast, and he seems very dedicated, and He's really funny. We had a good. He was good in the meetings. It was either last week or the week before. It just seems like a great guy. So hopefully hopefully he does well and has a good time.
All right, we'll go back to Lee Spencer.
I can repeat it if you just want to say it.
Just to kind of follow up on that, do you remember what it was like when you won that truck race at Daytona and Jack just kind of pronounced you as,
Yeah.
the future of Roush Fenway racing? You were, a little bit older than he is now. Do you remember what the pressure was like, and, how do you think he's going to handle all of that?
Yeah, I remember the first time Jack, he said, Carl's the heir apparent to the 6 car. That heir apparent, I think that means I might be driving that car sometime. It's like, it was unbelievable. It's like a dream. My buddy sitting there in front of you, Cam, can tell you all about just sitting in basically the parking lot at my dad's shop working on dirt cars. And, we'd go in and turn on the TV and watch the NASCAR races. And so the opportunity to get to compete at this level is insane. And I hope Eric's having as much fun with it as I did. It's just a blur. It's like the best dream you've ever had, for me. And that's fun. Yeah. I was present at college, yes. I was there. I was on the property, but we were... The best thing college is it gave me an opportunity to have it like a semi-towing business where we made money and fixing everybody's cars and towing them. But that is very young. How old is Eric? 18. Yeah. What were we doing at 18, Cam? Yeah, it's bad. Cam's an attorney now, so he knows not to speak. But it's awesome. You guys, this sport is really tough in a way that many others aren't, and there are only a few seats. Scott sitting here. How hard everybody works at their local racetracks and how good everyone is, and you just hope and dream that you get to race with any of these guys. But to be in the race and be part of it is crazy, and so it's kind of overwhelming. I still can't believe that that Jack picked me, and Max Jones called me that day, and that I'm driving for Joe Gibbs. The whole thing is just crazy. There are not very many seats to get to do this.
All right, we'll finish up here in the blue.
Brett Williams, Speedway Digest. Carl, I want to ask you, a hometown driver has not won here yet.
Yeah.
In a Sprint Cup event.
Yeah.
How much would it mean to you to, win your first race, or win a race here? Yeah. As in the Sprint Cup Series?
It'd be spectacular. I think, Scott, you being a racer from this area, you know what it's like. You drive by this place. When I drove by this place before I was doing any NASCAR stuff, it's almost like you don't want to look at it because, that's all your dreams right there. You wish you could be racing there. And then the idea of winning here, I've told this story a number of times. You guys have probably all heard it. But winning that truck race here, I could hear the crowd over the engine. I've never heard that before. I've never had anything like that happen. And there are so many people from my hometown and so many folks that I've raced with that are going to be here at this race. And to run well here would be very special. Somebody sent me a link to the finish in 2008 with me and Jimmy. And that was literally the most upset I've ever been after a race. Just because we got so close and I wanted to win so badly. So it'd be a spectacular race to win. And I know Clint feels the same way. I saw him lead a bunch of laps in one of them. I can't remember what year it was, maybe 2007 or 6, but it's a special place for us.
All right, Carl, we'll let you get back out to the garage.
Right. Thanks, guys.
For joining us.